Hi, I'm the Traveling Wizard and welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this Uber thing was like $7 every time I wanted to go anywhere. Taxis are even more. Cars are really expensive, $160 for 2 days to rent a car. So I'm going with this. Healthy ride. Yeah, it's like $2 for 2 hours, $1 an hour, something like that. And it's great. It locks up. It's got a little deal. You put a code in it. There's an app for your phone. And it's a great way to get around such a great town. So that's what I'm doing. You punch the number in here. I guess that might be solar powered or something, I don't know. You pull this little deal out of the tire like this, stick it in there, boom, you're ready to go. Nobody can steal your bike when you're not using it. Healthy ride, the choice of a new generation. Pittsburgh has been full of philanthropists. Well, of course there's Carnegie, there's Frick, and there's Heinz, like Heinz 57, Heinz Ketchup. And this right behind me, or in front of me, or side of me, is the History Center. And we're gonna go check it out right now. It's supposed to be one of the best museums in all of Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, we don't allow Texas people on this bus. We have rules here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh really is a steel city. This car right here, stainless steel, 60 years old, 200,000 miles, and looks just as good as new. This behind me is the world's oldest Jeep. It was actually invented in Western Pennsylvania by a company called Bantam, the Bantam Jeep, to help win the war. They needed something that was 2,000 pounds or less, and this was what got invented. Anyway, they ended up having to give the contract to Chrysler, but the rest is history. And here it is, the world's oldest Jeep. So guess what famous candy bar was invented here? There's a lot to see in this museum. It's very hard to catch up. So Henry Heinz was 12 years old when he started working in his parents' garden, and they started making horseradish. That was the first product of Heinz, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And by the time he died in 1919, and pickles and ketchup and a ton of things. 57 things to be exact. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be my neighbor? Hey, welcome to Mr. Rogers. Sad right here. Mr. Rogers over here himself. And if you've seen the puppet shows that he did, here's his actual puppets. How cool is that? Mr. Rogers did have the worst puppet voices in history. But I'm pretty sure he made this in himself, but he was a star for years and years. One of the most famous sandwich shops, if not the most famous sandwich shop in all of Pittsburgh, right behind me, Vermonti Brothers. This is the original, and there's supposed to be Brew in here. I've been to Dick's Last Stand. Let them bring it on. It's a quintessential Pittsburgh lunch. Iron City beer. And the number 2 here. They call this the number 2. It's the most popular sandwich, but it's the number 2 because the beer's number 1. It's open 24 hours a day. It's got coleslaw, French fries. I don't even know what else is in there. Is that all it is? Coleslaw and French fries? Is that all it's called? Coleslaw and French fries? Coleslaw and fries. There's no meat in here. Let's see how it tastes. It tastes a lot like coleslaw and French fries. Well, Pennsylvania was one of the most famous places for whiskey. As a matter of fact, this is where the Whiskey Rebellion happened. George Washington had to come in because these guys wouldn't pay their taxes. We're going to go visit one of the famous factories. It's called Wiggle. It's just kind of a small tasting room. You might say it's a little wiggle room. Here with Anthony, we're at the Wiggle. This isn't a brewery.
It's a distillery.
It's a distillery.
Yeah.
And how long you guys been here?
We've been here about 5 years. So that barrel behind you right there is actually the first barrel we ever laid down. We released that in March as a 5-year-old. Grain and whole all the way down at the other end there. We grind our grain ourselves. It's a little different.
That has to be like more than 50% corn.
So if we're doing bourbon, it has to be over 51% corn. If we're doing rye, it has to be over 51% rye.
So you do all those here? You do bourbon, rye?
Bourbon, rye. We do a wheat whiskey. We do a lot of experimenting with collaborations with local breweries as well. So we have a whole brewer series where we base the whiskey off of a mash bill for some kind of beer that they're making, or we're using yeast strain that they've cultivated. So we're doing a lot of collaboration.
So you do different yeast for this, just like beer? It's got yeast that is introduced?
So whiskey is really just distilled beer. It looks a lot nastier because we don't filter anything out. So it's not a beer that you would want to drink. It's kind of like an oatmeal sort of thing, but whiskey's distilled beer in the same way that a brandy would be a distilled wine. We even do a distilled mead that we call landlocked because we wanted to make something that was done in the style of a rum, but we're trying to source as much of the grain and everything locally as humanly possible. And
you can't grow sugar cane.
There's not a whole lot of sugar cane in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah.
You know what vegetarian zombies eat? Brains. Brains.
Okay, so if you want to think of firstly like bread, rye is going to be a little spicy and bold. Wheat is going to come off with a little bit more softness. It's going to be a little bit more vanilla as opposed to pepper notes. Bourbon's going to be a bit on the sweeter side because corn naturally has a higher sugar content.
This is Pennsylvania bourbon?
Correct.
Is this like your signature, would you say that's your most famous one?
No, the rye is actually.
Rye's something that's made a real big comeback, hasn't it?
Yep.
This one. I'm not stronger. Have a love affair with pierogies and anything else Polish. So here's a place that claims to be the best pierogi in Pittsburgh. Let's find out. Of course, we won't really know because this is the only one we're going to try. So it's got to be good. It is. You can tell this is a Polish restaurant because there's no way to open the container. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm Polish. 3 pierogies, a golumki, and some, I can't remember what you call that, but it's pasta, Polish style. With all this running around in Pittsburgh, a man's mind starts to think about church, especially when the church happens to be a bar. Welcome to Church Brew Works. It's a bar. Welcome to the Church of Beer. It's a religious experience. Wow. This is the first bar I've ever been to that's in a church. We've got some very good selections here. They're all made here. We're going to go for the flight, which has everything.
You have the Heavenly Hefeweizen and the Pina Colada Kolsch, Pious Monk Dunkel, the Thunder Hop IPA, Thunder Juice IPA, and the Celestial Gold Pilsner.
And which one's your favorite?
My favorite is probably the Thunder Juice IPA. It's our traditional house IPA, brewed with some blood orange and mosaic hops, so it adds a nice citrus background and has a subtle earthiness to it from the hops.
Is mosaic a mix? Is that what the mosaic is?
No, we actually traditionally use Galaxy hops. Mosaic is just a different style. It has a more subtle bitterness with a background of earthiness, so it creates a more well-rounded beer.
It's possible to do everything that we wanted to do in Pittsburgh, but we got to catch this place. It's one of the top places to do in Pittsburgh. It is the Phipps Botanical Garden and some other things. So let's go check it out. We got 20 minutes. This place is beautiful. Each one of these little rooms is completely different. There's 17 gardens in all, and we're going as fast as we can to see them all. And one of the pièce de résistance is the worm with wings. Well, they call them butterflies. Check it out. I was fascinated by Venus flytraps when I was a kid, and this one, I never got to see one in real life, but here it is right here. It's a pitcher plant. It looks like a nice little innocent plant, but it's actually a carnivore. Bug goes inside there, there's some acid in there, and it gets digested and eaten by the plant. It looks so sweet. So it's our last stop. We're on the Duquesne Incline, goes up to the top of this mountain. I have all these lovely gentlemen. And then we're on our way to Las Vegas. Well, that's it. We gotta go catch a plane at the airport. I wish I had another day, but I don't. It's a great place. Come and spend a couple of days. Lots of fun things to do. Great museums. Check it out. And check out my videos at thetravelingwizard.com.